The Spanish-American War, a conflict seemingly frozen in time, holds a significant place in the annals of history. Though brief, lasting only from April to August 1898, its reverberations echoed far beyond the battlefields, reshaping the geopolitical landscape and marking a turning point in the global order. This war, often overshadowed by larger, more protracted conflicts, offers a compelling glimpse into a world on the cusp of change, where empires crumbled and new powers emerged. The seeds of this conflict were sown in the waning days of the Spanish Empire, a once mighty power clinging to its last vestiges of colonial dominion. Cuba, a jewel in the Spanish crown, had long yearned for freedom, its people chafing under the yoke of colonial rule. As unrest grew on the island, a confluence of events, fueled by a potent mix of nationalism, humanitarianism, and imperial ambition, would set the stage for a showdown between Spain and a burgeoning United States, eager to assert its place on the world stage. The decades leading up to the Spanish-American War were marked by growing tensions between Spain and the United States, primarily centered around the issue of Cuba. Spain, desperately clinging to its colonial possessions, faced a fierce independence movement in Cuba, which had erupted into open rebellion in 1895. The United States, driven by a mix of economic interests, strategic considerations, and a growing sense of moral obligation, watched the situation in Cuba with increasing concern. American newspapers, particularly those owned by publishing magnate William Randolph Hearst, played a pivotal role in shaping public opinion, often employing sensationalized accounts of Spanish atrocities in Cuba to stir up anti-Spanish sentiment. The plight of the Cuban people, vividly portrayed in the American press, struck a chord with the American public, fueling a wave of sympathy and outrage. Meanwhile, the United States had significant economic interests in Cuba, primarily in the sugar industry, which were threatened by the ongoing conflict. The event that ultimately ignited the powder keg and propelled the United States into war with Spain occurred on the night of February 15, 1898, in Havana Harbor, Cuba. The USS Maine, an American battleship dispatched to Cuba to protect American interests amidst the growing turmoil, exploded in a fiery inferno, killing 266 American sailors. The exact cause of the explosion remains a subject of debate to this day, but at the time, the American public, fueled by sensationalist newspaper accounts, largely blamed Spain, with cries of "Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain," echoing across the nation. The sinking of the USS Maine, regardless of the true cause, served as a powerful rallying cry, pushing the United States closer to war with Spain. President William McKinley, initially hesitant to engage in armed conflict, faced mounting pressure from Congress and the American public to take action against Spain. On April 11, 1898, McKinley, bowing to public and political pressure, requested a declaration of war against Spain, which Congress readily granted, marking the official start of the Spanish-American War. While the conflict between Spain and the United States centered around Cuba, the first major engagement of the war took place thousands of miles away in the Philippines, another Spanish colonial possession. On May 1, 1898, the United States Asiatic Squadron, commanded by Commodore George Dewey, engaged and decisively defeated the Spanish fleet at the Battle of Manila Bay. Dewey's victory at Manila Bay, achieved with minimal American casualties, sent shockwaves through Spain and its remaining colonies, demonstrating the growing naval prowess of the United States. The Battle of Manila Bay had far-reaching implications, instantly transforming the United States into a major player in the Pacific theater. The victory paved the way for the eventual capture of Manila, the Philippine capital, and the subsequent American occupation of the archipelago, marking the beginning of America's foray into Asian colonialism. The Philippines, strategically located in the Pacific, would become a key outpost for American interests in the region, a role it would continue to play for decades to come. Section 5. Triumph and Tragedy in Cuba. The war in Cuba, the primary theater of the conflict, witnessed both triumphant victories and tragic losses for the United States. American troops, eager to liberate Cuba from Spanish rule, faced a formidable foe in the Spanish army, seasoned by years of colonial warfare. The Battle of San Juan Hill, one of the most famous engagements of the war, showcased both the bravery and the shortcomings of the American forces. Theodore Roosevelt, then Assistant Secretary of the Navy, resigned his post to form a volunteer cavalry regiment known as the Rough Riders, which played a pivotal role in the capture of San Juan Hill. While the capture of San Juan Hill and the subsequent siege of Santiago de Cuba marked significant victories for the United States, the war in Cuba was not without its tragedies. The American forces, ill-prepared for the tropical climate and plagued by disease, suffered heavy losses from yellow fever, typhoid, and malaria. The conditions in the American camps were deplorable, with inadequate sanitation and a shortage of medical supplies, leading to widespread sickness and death. Despite these challenges, the American forces persevered, their determination fueled by a belief in the righteousness of their cause. Section 6. The Spoils of Victory, A New World Order. The Spanish-American War, though brief, resulted in a decisive victory for the United States, ushering in a new era in global power dynamics. The Treaty of Paris, signed by Spain and the United States on December 10, 1898, formally ended the conflict and marked the end of Spain's colonial empire. Under the terms of the treaty, Spain ceded Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Guam to the United States, while the Philippines was acquired for $20 million. The United States, once a regional power, had emerged as a global force, its victory over Spain signaling its arrival on the world stage. The acquisition of these territories, particularly the Philippines, sparked heated debate in the United States. While some hailed the expansion as a sign of America's growing power and influence, others condemned it as hypocritical, arguing that the United States, founded on the principles of liberty and self-determination, had no right to rule over other peoples. The debate over the Philippines foreshadowed the challenges and complexities that would come to define America's role as a global power in the 20th century. Section 7. Spain's Defeat, A Crumbling Empire. The Spanish-American War had a profound impact on Spain, marking a humiliating defeat that shattered the last vestiges of its once mighty empire. The loss of its remaining colonies, coupled with the devastating defeat at the hands of a rising power, dealt a severe blow to Spanish pride and prestige. The war exposed the weaknesses of Spain's military and its inability to compete with the modern, industrialized forces of the United States. Spain's defeat had far-reaching consequences, leading to a period of national introspection and a reassessment of its place in the world. The war also had a significant impact on Spanish society, accelerating the decline of the monarchy and contributing to the rise of republicanism. The loss of its colonies, once a source of wealth and prestige, had a devastating impact on the Spanish economy, exacerbating existing social and political tensions. The Spanish-American War marked a turning point in Spanish history, signaling the end of an era and the beginning of a long and difficult process of national rebuilding and renewal. Section 8. America's Rise to Power. The Spanish-American War marked a pivotal moment in American history, signaling its emergence as a global power and ushering in a new era of American foreign policy. The decisive victory over Spain, a once mighty empire, demonstrated the growing military and economic might of the United States, capturing the attention of the world. The acquisition of new territories including Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines expanded America's reach and influence, transforming it into a colonial power with interests across the globe. The war also had a profound impact on American society, fostering a new sense of national unity and purpose. The victories in Cuba and the Philippines, fueled by a potent mix of patriotism and national pride, galvanized the American public, ushering in a period of national confidence and optimism. The Spanish-American War marked a turning point in American history, propelling the United States onto the world stage, and setting the stage for its rise as a global superpower in the 20th century. Section 9. The Legacy of a Short-Lived War. The Spanish-American War, though often overshadowed by larger, more protracted conflicts, left an indelible mark on history, shaping the geopolitical landscape and leaving a lasting legacy on both the victors and the vanquished. For Spain, the war marked a humiliating defeat, shattering its colonial empire and ushering in a period of national introspection and decline. For the United States, the war signaled its emergence as a global power, ushering in a new era of American foreign policy and setting the stage for its rise as a superpower. The war also had a profound impact on the territories caught in the crossfire, including Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. While the war brought an end to Spanish colonial rule, it also paved the way for American intervention and influence, shaping the destinies of these nations for decades to come. The Spanish-American War, a conflict seemingly frozen in time, serves as a reminder of the enduring power of nationalism, the complexities of empire, and the profound consequences of war.